Mary Lovely joins me now. She's a senior fellow at the Peterson Institute for International Economics. Thanks so much for joining.
Of course.
Let me start, if I can, with the big picture here. So far, what has this escalation of the trade war accomplished? Has it brought the U.S. to date any better trade terms with any country, including China?
Well, there are some concessions, I would say, on the table, particularly from smaller, more trade-dependent countries for whom this type of aggressive action may actually lead to changes in their own domestic calculus about tariffs. But for the large countries, for Europe, for China, we're not seeing any movement as of yet.
It does seem that the one thing that moves Trump has been the markets. First, it was the bond markets led to that pause, and then further market trouble, and it seems some pressure perhaps from his defense secretary to at least talk in a more conciliatory tone. I wonder, do U.S. trading partners buy that, right? Because it goes up and down so unpredictably, seemingly day to day, hour to hour. I mean, how do you negotiate a nation-to-nation trading deal in those circumstances?
Well, the negotiating environment is fairly toxic right now, especially for countries that want to approach the United States as a peer. And, whether President Trump is paying attention to the markets or to the multitude of voices that are telling him that this is commercial suicide for many U.S. companies, we really don't know. But they are hearing it from all sides that this strategy so far just isn't bearing the fruit that they promised it would bear.
Is the economic damage to the U.S., at least in the near term, already baked in? Because you hear from so many companies in so many different sectors saying, I just can't make the most basic business plans because I don't know what X is going to cost tomorrow or next week or next month, and therefore reducing orders and so on. When you speak to businesses and business leaders, is your sense that there's an economic bill that's going to get paid by this country, and soon?
It's a bill that's certainly coming. It's going to be a long-term bill. That means a bill that, a price that we're going to continue to pay over and over again. We're hearing about alternatives to the dollar. We're talking about diversifying away from the United States. We've been used to talking about de-risking from China, but now other countries are talking about de-risking from the U.S., reducing their dependence on the U.S. market. All of that is bad news for U.S. exporters.
That de-risking, it's a great way of describing it, right? Because I've heard this from, I spoke to the Spanish economic minister yesterday. He said, yeah, we're going to be making deals with other people. We'll still trade with the U.S., but we got to talk to other folks. That includes China. You hear that from Canadian officials. It strikes me that that's a move, that the momentum is strong enough that can't be pulled back even with another pause or a slight reduction of tariffs, that they're making longer-term plans without us.
Yeah, as one person put it to me today, what faith, what trust can we have in the United States when a deal, the USMCA, which was negotiated by President Trump, was just basically destroyed over a 2-week period? So yes, there is a long-term price to be paid here for the uncertainty and the erosion of trust, frankly, that this is made evident.
Mary Lovely, thanks so much for joining.
You're welcome.